You know, there's all these stories about, you know, guys over in Macedonia who are running these fake news sites.
Number 24 is content farms in Macedonia.
Бидејќи ако се направи грешка, таа ќе биде кобна. Нема враќање назад.
So Europe need to remain more sexy lady in the world.
Ајде, мајката!
Господ да ја чува Македонија и низините граѓани.
Macedonia's celebration of 32 years of independence has just concluded, though judging by the congratulatory notes on various social media platforms from the government of Macedonia and the U.S. Embassy, you could be forgiven for asking what country was celebrating its independence, as neither of them said anything about Macedonia. Nor, for that matter, did they dare to use the, quote, N-word, unquote. Having said that, we are pleased to see the pushback, at least on Twitter, or X, that Macedonians gave U.S. Ambassador Aguilar. In the meantime, there is a scandal brewing with the oncology clinic, and even the public, long used to corruption in the state-run healthcare system, are shocked and outraged by how bad it actually is. And even as Tace, quote, celebrated, unquote, Macedonia's Independence Day, he took time to attempt to, once again, frog march Macedonians into Prespa 2.0. We'll discuss all of this and more on this episode of the Macedonian Content Farmers Podcast. I'm Jason Miko, coming to you from the foot of Vodno Mountain in Skopje, Macedonia.
And Cvetin also in the foot of Vodno Mountain.
And we're here together. Wow.
For a live episode of the Macedonian Content Farmers Podcast.
Yeah, so anyway.
Now the audience, the audience. I'll put it in the background.
Okay, yes, good. Do that.
I'll edit it in.
Well, that is funny.
Well, welcome to Macedonia, Jason.
Thank you. Always great to be in Macedonia. As one of my friends says, when I call him up, he says, welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
So,
away from that bubble you live there. Like Disneyland.
Actually, I don't live in Oral Valley, I don't live in a bubble. So I'm not on the left coast or the other left coast. I'm in flyover country. So we're in real America. So
in a small town,
exactly.
like the song goes.
Exactly. So, but
how do you find us so far?
Fantastic. Always great to come here. I'm usually here for 2.5 weeks, and I can never possibly see everybody that I want to see. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can't just see somebody once, you have to see them at least twice. And one of those times has to be a big dinner or a big lunch. Yeah. And there's only so many dinners and lunches you can fit into, you know.
You can do brunch, you can fit in.
Yeah, I do some breakfast and brunch.
Working breakfasts.
Yeah, so it's constantly eating, not enough working out. Although I did do, speaking of Vodno, I did do a hike from the apartment where I'm staying up to Vodno and back the other day, 17 kilometers round trip.
I will not be joining you in such events.
That was a very good hike, and I hope to get a few more hikes in. But you know, again, I've got friends in Bitola, as you know. I want to introduce you to Kratovo since you've never been to Kratovo.
We might.
Okay.
No promises there.
Okay.
To the people of Kratovo.
Yeah, the good people of Kratovo. So, just never enough time to do all the things that we would wish to do or to say. Therefore, the thing of it is to make the most of your time. So. That's a quote from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carols. But anyway, so always great to be here and see what's going on. You know, I get my finger on the pulse, and as I told you before we started to record, I'm a little more hopeful this time, setting aside the question of
interethnic partition and coming war.
Yes. Setting aside that.
Let's put the gloom.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the plague?
Yeah, let's front load the gloom this time.
Exactly.
For the end of the podcast.
We'll end on a happy note. So other than that, you know, again, and let's just kind of starting with, you know, we just celebrated 32 years of Macedonia's independence yesterday. And as I mentioned in the monologue, neither the government or the U.S. ambassador, you know, so Aguilar says, proud to be your partners and allies, looking forward to continued cooperation for many years to come. Happy Independence Day. She adds it in Macedonian and Albanian, the Macedonian flag. Looks like a handshake thingy emoji with the U.S. flag. And the picture is the Macedonian flag, Happy Independence Day, the seal of the United States of America, Skopje. And, you know, lots of pushback from people, if I can just see some of them. Congratulations on whose independence? Yeah. Please let us live in peace. Thanks, but no thanks. So let's see.
And the horse you rode in on.
And the horse you rode in on, yes. When in America you write a greeting card in Spanish, i.e. Mexican,
Yeah,
then you can write in Albanian here.
They do, actually.
Next year, Macedonia will congratulate you on the 4th of July, but we'll use the Spanish language. So anyway, point being, thank you, former British colony. I had to like that one. So
mine was like they're congratulating us on our Independence Day, because we are definitely in independent relationship to the United States, and
but yeah, so
emissaries.
Good to see pushback. I mean, they need it. Actually, the funny thing is, this is a preview of things to come, of columns to write. I'm always thinking about these things, and as I was hiking up Vodo, look down on all of Skopje and beyond, etc. And of course, I'm always looking at various buildings just to kind of pinpoint and see. And it's always fun to see some of the big ones. And I was like, where's Calais? Where's the U.S. Embassy? And I finally pinpointed, and I said, it is so small.
Really?
And I thought, that's a metaphor. It's so small because the Americans inside it are so small. These are small, pathetic people trying to push around Macedonians, often getting away with it, but that's also because sometimes Macedonians allow them to get away with it. And here's an example where Macedonians are not allowing them to get away with it. So she can bloviate all she wants, as do all U.S. ambassadors. But anyway, so that's a preview of things to come. So pushback there, pushback on the government side. Oh, the hopefulness, right? Nobody uses the N-word. Everybody says Macedonia. You don't even think about it. It's just second nature.
Even Pendarovsky was in an interview, and he said, I don't use it. I don't like to use it. I have to put it in the stationery or something, but I'm not using it personally. Like, okay, but you're arresting people to impose it on the country. We are only not using it and not obsessing with it because we now have much greater issues to discuss, with France telling us there will be no final destination. You will have a relationship much like you had with the EU under Gruevski, like trade partner, no political influence over the EU, free travel, free movement, free export, okay, but this is what we had before we embarked on this decade-long road of arrests, persecutions, infighting, giving away everything to the Albanians, to the Greeks, etc. So, and then the Bulgarian dispute on top of this, and we're not obsessing about the Greek demands only because they're temporarily supplanted by something even greater and more divisive.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think as I was talking with some friends the other day, eventually I think Macedonia can get back to the point where it's officially used. Macedonia is just used within the country as it was in the past, as it should be in the future. I don't know about the internationals, but anyway, that's down the road.
I'm sure under the next VMRO government, probably soon, we will have some creative printer malfunction in every document where we have to print this out. But
printer, unquote, printer malfunction, quote unquote. That would be very funny. I like that. There's always ways to be creative and do that and to have fun with it while you're at it. To frustrate the colleagues of this world.
But there were not much celebrations. We'll see this evening. We play Italy, so we'll see how that works out.
In
Skopje.
In football.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting.
And now is that part of qualifiers for the World Cup? Or?
The World, I think.
I don't know.
I guess the World Cup. Yeah. And there was some gathering Kovachevsky organized, but it's part of his longer campaign to get VMRO to vote in favor of the Bulgarian amendments. So he's doing rallies across the country, and the message is the same. This is the unique opportunity. They want to bring in Ukraine and Moldova, and we can sneak through being better prepared and not as partitioned or in war as Ukraine and Moldova are. So we could we could be part of this enlargement group, but for this we need to accept this just one little demand from Bulgaria, and this is a unique opportunity. If you buy now, you get a set of steak knives. It's literally what it sounds, literally what they sound like. And these are his rallies, and so his rally on the 8th was also something very similar to this, the same message. This will be a path not toward Bulgarization, but toward Macedonization, because we will have we will be able to travel freely, and will not have to take out Bulgarian passports to travel. And we will even get those who have a Bulgarian passport, will get them to bring them back, is his latest message. The Colored Revolution message was we will bring the youth back home, and now the message is we'll practically seize the Bulgarian passports from his wife, I guess, and everybody else who has them, because there will be no more need for them. But this would be like the guy who buys the Staro Kupujem guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah,
I remember that from. No, we leave it in the background.
Ambient noise. Yeah.
So we have the doors open and there's screen doors and
So
letting the fresh air in. Yeah,
will know
so.
that you're really here.
I am. Yeah, exactly. Let's. As he comes by, we will break for a
Yes,
moment
yes.
to listen to him. The call of the. Stare Coupe, right?
Staro Kupujem.
Right. Yeah. So
Buying old stuff.
that's right.
It's the
Oh,
translation.
yeah, funny. Anyway, well, here's a quote from Dimitar. I'm going to read it now. This is the English translation. Today we have the most real and unique opportunity for quick process of EU integration. I call on you tonight to unite over this goal. Let's not make concessions, but progress. Let's not leave anyone room to identify us in their own historical context, because we have our history and language confirmed at a scientific and international level. Let's continue to self-affirm ourselves in the international family of nations and states, sat equal among the democratic countries. It sounds very Bolshevik. So
The writers are not very.
They're still steeped in Marxism and Leninism, it
And
appears.
he lies a lot. He would say in these events like, well, we tried it the other way and we had zero economic progress, zero integration.
Not true.
And it's ridiculous. Like, it's ass on stilts. It's completely...
Say what you want about Gruevski and his government and everything else, but you want to talk about progress under the from 2006 when VMRO was elected. There was real progress in terms of increasing the ability of ordinary Macedonians to create wealth, create jobs by bringing in foreign direct investment, by encouraging domestic investment, by reaching out to European partners, world partners around the world. I mean, that was progress, and the numbers confirm it, statistics confirm it. But these people say, yeah, so he's lying about that. There's only one way. It's always there's only one way that we can do this, and it happens to be our way. And if you disagree with us, then you are against the Europeanization of Macedonia. You're a traitor, and yada yada yada. Again, it's very Bolshevik.
They got the president of the European Council, Charles Michel, to make a statement to give us the date. That's one of the big news we have for this podcast. He said 2030, and a lot of caveats. We need to
2030 of what millennium?
Yeah, exactly. On one calendar, on the Mayan calendar.
In Mayan calendar.
And that's a big concession from them. Immediately, the European Commission said, "Wait, stop! We have not signed on to this. We can't give a date. They need to be ready." But it was a very well planned campaign around this date by the government. But like a few hours before this big major victory for them, Macron came out and he said, "Listen, we'll be working on multi-speed Europe, which means closely integrated region of." France, Germany, Belgium, the Benelux, maybe Italy, probably not Italy. Then a broader circle of countries, which like Spain, Portugal, Italy, I guess. Greece might even be further beyond. Then the Eastern European grouping. And, these will have different levels of political alignment, but a broad economic zone. And for us, and especially for Ukraine and Moldova, the plan is just to be part of the economic union, economic zone, and not part of the political zone. And under this, we would not have a commissioner, no veto power. When you don't have veto power, you cannot tap the budget for development as much as Bulgaria, Romania could, Croatia, etc. Then, if Ukraine joins under this model, immediately Hungary, Poland will become net contributors to the budget. Bulgaria, Romania, possibly. We might even be, but but the extent of devastation here.
Yeah.
You build it and
Right.
the next morning the Russians nuke it, and then you build it again. So it's possible that we will not even have, even with the lack of veto power and with the addition of Ukraine, nobody's expecting like that money will freely flow, especially now that this government signed on all the infrastructure deals with Bechtel, which we pay for with our own money, not with the European money.
Right.
Because the EU can't give us money for a corrupt no-bid deal signed by Artan Grubi and the Albanian mafia here. So, we'll be back in the position that we were under Gruevski, except with much extensive Albanization of the country. And Kovacevski goes out and says, no, you do not understand what Macron is saying. Multi-speed Europe does not mean this Europe of concentric circles. It means that if we are faster in integration, we will join faster than Serbia or Kosovo. Like, he's lying through his teeth about the meaning of this phrase.
Right.
Even like people like Borjan's sister is out and saying, I've been in Brussels all my life. What Kovacevski says multi-speed Europe means is not what it actually means. He's lying. He's lying almost at the level of Zaev.
Oh. Now, going back and taking a look at the calendar. So we had the debate in Parliament about the amendments. They didn't get anywhere with that. So Parliament broke for a break.
Yeah. Against the rules.
Against the rules, yeah. I noticed that Jafari said, I don't have to do anything, basically. I
If
can
you're
do whatever
being
I want.
anal about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the goal from the government side is to pass these amendments by the end of the calendar year, or was it November?
November, I think.
November.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if that doesn't happen, then, well, who knows? We'll see.
Albania resumes succession talks.
Yeah.
We don't. But something major is happening now. This is the other big item we have in that. 3 days ago, the Parliament convened on another issue and passed it immediately under this fast-track procedure that nobody is objecting. Yes.
Right.
No, where you can't give amendments and block the process. And what they adopted is changes to the criminal code, which reduce greatly the penalties for abuse of office, to the point that they can either, if you have a protracted trial, it can reach statute of limitations and expire sooner, or if you have already been sentenced, you can ask for the prison term to be quashed. If it's under 3 years, I think, you can ask to have it quashed into a suspended sentence. So this is very clearly, the way it was adopted is very clearly meant, it's giving away a statement that is part of some kind of a deal. It happened immediately after Gabriel Escobar was in Skopje and he had meetings with VMRO and with the government. So now the first interpretation, which was immediately denied by Nikola Gruevski, was that this is done to have his people released, because most often their charges were abuse of office.
Right.
They would have, like, instead of 5 years prison term, 2.7, 2.6, 2 years, 6 months. And then he can apply for a suspended sentence. He can apply for a retrial. We can have Gordana Yankulovska out of prison, Milijana Kijevski, who is currently in actual prison after spending years and years in house arrest. It would not cover the protesters on April 27th, our January 6th.
Or January 6th.
Yes, it will not cover them either.
Yeah.
But Gruevski immediately came out, no deal, I'm not making a deal. They fear me after so many years, and he added, the last sentence was, and they have reason to fear. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
He did say different political groups are interested in this. So he was hinting at the Albanians, he's hinting at SDSM because they're outgoing, they're leaving, they will likely lose elections. And then that they are trying to make it easier on themselves when the shoe is in the other foot. So now, is Gruevski part of this deal? Is it just being done for SDSM and the Albanians? Is Mickovski in on the deal? These are all the speculations that are coming out. Is it a repeat of Ljuba Bushkovski? So remember when he was released from The Hague with very clear support from the US Embassy, which previously wanted him arrested. He came to Macedonia and immediately started working with the embassy to try to weaken Gruevski. The US diplomats like to have like a nationalist party playing against Orban.
Pit groups against each other, right.
There is a nationalist party they pit against Vucic.
Right.
So Could it be now that they have a role for Gruevski planned out like this? Just him returning to the country could be with the wave of enthusiasm we can expect. So yeah, these are all the speculations that are out. The fact is, so far, that a move that helps out, that could help out a lot of the current, past, and future politicians who were charged with abuse of office, has been adopted. Now, what happens next? Would some members of parliament peel off and vote now in favor of the Bulgarian amendments? Mickovski would have to resign afterwards. He promised this,
Right.
that if only one of them peels off, that he will resign. Would it be like a delayed issue, like we still have early elections, VMRO wins, and then they vote in some capacity on this thing with this law in pocket? We'll see.
Right. So this law, which reduces penalties for quote unquote abuse of office, has been passed by the Parliament under the European flag process, which is expedited. Is that going to be? Can it be appealed, or does anybody want to appeal it? Or?
Pendarovsky signed it immediately.
He signed it. Oh.
Yeah.
I actually saw calls for him from the colored revolutionaries not to sign it. So.
Well, they were making the calls. He already had it signed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he said, yeah, I'm satisfied because it's actually tougher on the criminals. They will have their property confiscated more easily. He had a cope, something like that in the law. But yeah, this also, made it look like there is some kind of a deal.
Something afoot.
Or at least SDSM and DUI are working to make it appear that there is a deal.
Right.
That VMRO, so there are people. So the VMRO people are obviously quiet on this. They're not sure where this is going, honestly. The public commentators, SDSM people are dismayed, those who try to still be principled, colored revolution, anti-corruption.
So the true Bolsheviks.
Yeah.
Right.
Who are still haven't been hired by the government, so they like to put on this facade. Who still work in NGOs fighting corruption, ostensibly. So they have to make face over this, and there's others who are in the government. They say, well, look, yeah, we'll see now that VMRO will cave after this deal. You see, VMRO has been broken by the Americans, and now they will accept this deal. This is part of the deal, but it doesn't sit very easily with the left, obviously. And but we'll see how it's implemented and in which cases. And
do we have any test cases coming up that this would apply to?
There was one just before just as it was passed. It was not signed yet. We had Igor Yanushев, former transportation official charged with the purchase of the city buses. He was given a suspended sentence, but I think that was a pretty weak case anyway. He's part of the parliament and obviously part of Mickovski's group, not like a former official who would be now out of the government. So he got, that was also mentioned, like, okay, here we have the penalties are collapsing, the trials are again collapsing after the US insisted blacklists, we need to see arrests, we need to see judges handing out tough prison sentences, and now this happens, the embassy is still quiet, the EU embassy says we haven't had time to read it yet. So...
Lame.
Something is afoot.
Yeah, okay. Well, and in the meantime, then, and as we alluded to in the monologue, you never know what, can bring down a government. And this oncology scandal seems to have captured the imagination of the public. And as I said in the monologue, people are really outraged, even those that are used to the corruption and everything else. So, kind of take listeners through what the oncology scandal is about briefly, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, this is those who don't have experience in public healthcare. These are the scare stories we would hear and tell each other. But now there is, for the first time, there is like a actual criminal case over this. So in short, the way it works, the way the scandal works, is that doctors were either overprescribing chemotherapy drugs to actual patients, bringing relatives, friends to be pretend patients, diagnose them with fake cancer, and prescribe them chemotherapy drugs, and then go and sell them at the black market, most frequently in Kosovo, which still does not have a fully functioning healthcare system. Or the worst iteration of this scandal would be where, and this is apparently what they're investigating, where you have an actual cancer patient, you tell him or her that they're given the drug and you inject him with something, but you inject him with a saline solution or whatever.
Placebo.
Yeah. And then you keep the actual vial and then you sell the vial.
Well, people will literally die over that.
One of the people, there was one protest and people on social media. In one instance, the family said our mother died while attending chemo, and our suspicion is in that after one of the rounds of chemo, her hair didn't fall off. So in the other cases, it would fall.
Yeah.
And in this case, she did not have the symptoms of having chemo.
Wow. Wow.
So the police barged in the apartment of the previous director of the oncology clinic. Under the model which Gruevski introduced, we have, when he would have to give a clinic to the Albanian party, he appointed like a deputy director. So one is like a medical person, the other is an economist. This is the large central clinic in Skopje, and it has subclinics like the cardiology, like gastro, like oncology. So they all have two directors. So the medical director is a Macedonian SDSM guy. His house was raided. His deputy is Albanian from DUI. In his case, this is he had his mother enrolled in the clinic, admitted to the clinic during COVID. He says, no, she did not have cancer. So I was in the clinic. It was COVID, and we wanted to keep an eye on her, and other hospitals were admitting COVID patients as well. I can't say if she did have COVID, where you brought a COVID patient in a ward with cancer patients.
Yeah, oncology clinic, right?
Yeah, no, we don't know if she had COVID, but we admitted her. Okay, did you give her chemo, at least on paper? If she received some, then it was my colleague, the medical director, who would have admitted it. I wouldn't know. I've only met my mother. I've only seen her on television. Only met her recently. Wouldn't know. Didn't talk about whether she has cancer.
Wow.
The joke here is, "Sum bilu podrum" is the expression here when Albanians say, "I know nothing about drugs, about insurgency. I was in the basement all the time. I know nothing." This is his actual. They're throwing each other under the bus.
Right.
We had these scandals before, like it was reported in 2008 that this was being investigated, but in a form that the head of the clinic was keep forgetting the exact, was she the mistress of Filip and he was some kind of an official back. There were some, so the story was that she was over ordering like ridiculous amounts of chemo, like something that would actually kill you if you take it, like free, triple, quadruple on a patient. And then hopefully, you get the one vial which you need, and then they just make criminal profits on the rest. But there were no arrests made then. This is the first time that this is being investigated. There was this other major case back then when we started realizing what's happening, when the heart stents were still very expensive. And Silvana Buneva's husband went through this. He had heart issue, he had a stent implanted. He was talked through the procedure with light anesthesia. Here it is, it's going, whoop, there it is, now you're fixed. The doctor would tell him, and then he still has the problems. He goes to another cardiologist, he tells him,
there's no stent. Wow.
You're still like 90% blocked here. And then they take the plastic tube and sell it in Kosovo. The doctor goes to Kosovo and installs it in a paying patient, not in the
state healthcare
yeah.
station. Wow. Oh. Any idea how long this has been going on?
We had this first reported in 2008. This instance with over ordering excessive amounts. Now they can catch you if you prescribe triple, quadruple amount to one patient. Then you have to find a fake patient. But then if somebody investigates, they can catch you. Obviously, they can go to the patient and check out if he has any. I'm sure that cancer leaves some kind of trace, right? So probably, the way it works, probably the easiest way to get away with it is to fake, is the most evil one, is to fake inject a patient from a technical point of view. Then the patient can say, well, again, I suppose you can check the patient if he has traces of chemo in him, but if it's gone a while, and especially if the evidence is buried after a year or half a year, then probably the easiest way to kill this is the evilest one.
Now, of course, the EU and the U.S. embassies are always quick to jump on scandals if it involves VMRO, but I assume they're being very vocal and talking loudly about this.
Of course.
Not a word.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have. I mean, we were. It's possible it's political because Zaev was. I mean, the fact that it's being investigated is political. Zaev has been making. So if we are on one hand keeping an eye on Gruevski if he tries to challenge Mickovsky, and the rumors are that he may make a deal and that at least the government is offering him a deal. There were rumors that Artan Grubi went to Budapest, that Mile Zečević, Kovacevski's intelligence chief, and Secretary General of the party went to Budapest. On the other hand, Zaev is much more openly offering a deal to Mickovsky to bring down SDSM, to divide SDSM before the elections, and then hopefully, have Zaev or somebody friendly to him elected president. He would get the pardons, he would get all these sorts of things. And then Zaev would in exchange help VMRO, led by Mickovsky, win the general elections. So the most likely candidate for president would then be Filipče, because, he had like this competence aura during the COVID period. But then he was hit, he had the hospital fire. That killed 14 people, and especially they were Albanians, so this is something essential for an SDSM candidate to win. Especially if he would try to challenge, let's say, Pendarovsky is nominated by Kovacevski, and then VMRO boycotts the elections, because that's one of the options they have been announcing. And then maybe Zaev nominates Filipče.
Right.
And then VMRO secretly help Filipče win the second round of the elections, defeats the candidate of the official SDSM candidate, and then they split the SDSM party. So now he's hit by the fact that he built a hospital out of straw, which burned down and killed 14 Albanians. And now he has this oncology scandal. It's very difficult to imagine that he was not. If there is a serious investigation into this, that it would not lead to Filipče, who has since, even during his term, he's been building villas on Vodno, so he has
seen it,
huge unregistered wealth that can be seized, etc. So this is probably infighting between SDSM, the fact that an SDSM doctor was raided for a really, really ugly scandal, so close before the elections.
It's interesting that there's, kind of taking a step back here, there's lots of infighting and factionalism within Citisa, not so much, at least on the surface, with VMRO, but there are problems there, obviously. We should admit those. And then to go across the ocean back to my country and look at the problems within the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. I don't call them the Democratic Party because there's nothing democratic about them. The Democrat Party and the doddering old fool that we have for a president and his cackling hyena for a vice president, and then Trump with his scandals, and then the 10 or 12 others that are running for the Republican nomination, and it's just kind of. it's fascinating. And then to dial it back even further and go up further for that 30,000 foot, 10,000 meter perspective of looking at the state of, to use shorthand, democracies on the planet, and how they don't seem to be doing so well, in my opinion.
You think?
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's not an indictment of the ideal. You know, it's
or an endorsement of the Russian invasion.
Cover our asses here. Yeah, it's not an indictment of the ideal, but it is an indictment of, well, people, I guess. You know, and as you know, are there any leaders anywhere anymore? It just seems to be bereft.
Yeah, it's really bad
in these countries. So, so on elections, though, since we were talking about that again, and I know it's been a while since we did our last podcast. We have presidential and parliamentary elections next year, regardless.
Or this year.
Or this year, yeah.
If they're early elections.
If they're early elections, right. But if not, then the presidential and parliamentary would be together, or
technically we should first have presidential elections and then general elections. This is why SDSM is insisting on separate elections. They hope that their candidate will win the presidential with the Albanian vote. They will have a de facto coalition for the presidential election, and hope that they will then be able to carry this coalition into the general elections. VMRO wants them to have them at the same time. They say to avoid the costs, but that's why VMRO have been saying they may boycott. That's why we may have this option of SDSM running a second SDSM candidate showing up, and then VMRO secretly supporting him to mess with the SDSM party. Which, why wouldn't you want to do it? Why wouldn't you split them further, make them fight between each other?
Right.
But VMRO has been insisting on early general elections. Part of any kind of deal on the Bulgarian issue would be early general elections. Maybe even then Pendarovsky could be kindly asked to resign sooner and then have put the elections, lump them together.
Of course, if he resigns, you still have to have a president. So who technically becomes president?
We could theoretically have all
Jaferi.
Albanian leadership. Jaferi would be president.
Acting president.
I think in any case he becomes active president for a while.
Wow.
We know Savo Klimovsky, the law professor, he was Speaker of Parliament. He would always say, when I was president, wait, Savo, no, but for this week, I had a week. And
what did you accomplish during your term of a week?
And then SDSM are still technically have made a promise to DUI that they will have an Albanian prime minister 100 days before elections. Right. So technically we could have an all Albanian leadership trio or duo holding the three positions, Jaferi holding speaker and president of the country, and another Albanian holding prime ministership.
Wait, now with the speaker, if the speaker becomes acting president, does he still retain his position as speaker?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. I would think you'd have to step aside from that, and then you'd have a new speaker.
Yeah, so, no, we're fine. We're good, we're good.
This is getting into the weeds of the constitutional structure of the country.
How's your speaker doing? Wait, is Mitch still speaker of something?
No, he's the minority leader.
He's the minority,
of the Senate.
right.
So the speaker is Kevin McCarthy, Republican. So
he's not
by the slimmest majority.
He's still functional, yeah.
Exactly. So although he is third in line for the presidency, so you have the president, the vice president, then the speaker. So if unfortunately something should happen to the current president and vice president, then Kevin McCarthy becomes
when does Michael Obama become president? The first cross-dresser.
Oh, let's not even go there.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, it's yes, we're both about ready to enter the silly season of non-stop electioneering. You
don't think that the screenwriters of this show have included in a segment when Trump will be making transgender jokes aimed at Michael Obama? You don't. You really think we're not going to do that?
Probably, yeah. Given how bombastic he is, yeah. So exactly. So anyway, we'll wait and see. What else do we have to catch up on here? So we're at the end of summer, beginning of September. Celebrated Independence Day yesterday. It's kind of traditional end of summer for Macedonians as well, even though school starts on the 1st of September. Then you've got this holiday a few days later, so it's a short school week for the kids. Are they getting their proper textbooks this year?
About a third of the textbooks are missing in the elementary education. The contract is given to an Albanian company. DUI gave it to an Albanian company. They don't. I'm sure they pocketed the money, but they're not providing the stuff.
Producing the textbooks, yeah.
And also there's the issue of do we rewrite them and how soon? And some stuff has been agreed with Bulgaria, and Bulgaria, like this funny development we have where they keep telling us there are no new demands if you accept this demand, but that's why, because that's the reason is because there is a very long list of old demands which the SDSM government has not met yet.
Right.
One of them is that we rewrite the textbooks. Sections have been agreed, that Samuel is a Bulgarian king, that Kirill and Method are Bulgarian, have been helped by the Bulgarian state kingdom on their historic mission. So it's everything needs to have, the Bulgarian history infused in, and the government is not printing the books. So, but other books are missing as well. So it's part incompetence, part over-promising, under-delivering. Which obviously Bulgarians are now super angry about, because we had a deal, we shook on it with you shook on it with Zaev. Did you find him trustworthy looking? Did you think he would deliver? So that's the. But yeah, I mean, if we make a deal with them, it will be about implementation, then whether. Do we admit the Bulgarians in the constitution? How do we delay it? In what capacity? What guarantees will the EU give us? If we do this, that there will be no more blockades. There are lots of things that VMRO can pass off as a victory. Maybe opening up of some cultural club in Bulgaria, something that could then they pass off as a victory and vote for this thing. Ideally, in their calculation, after they win the elections, have solid majority.
Right. If they have a solid majority.
Yeah. If the embassy allows them to have one.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like with the, back on the Bulgarian demands, it's like free beer tomorrow. If you go in, there's a sign that says free beer tomorrow. You go in tomorrow, it still says free beer tomorrow. It's not achievable. So it's just kind of, there will always be these demands, despite what Gabriel Escobar said when he was here, that the foreign minister of Bulgaria promised me, gave me her word? Okay.
No, yeah,
its word.
She's a girl, yeah.
She's
a Macedonian.
She's a girl? Oh,
she's from Pirin, yes.
Oh, interesting.
And we're waiting to see. Maybe they may actually be softer on this.
Is their government stable? I know they had 5 elections in 2 years and finally cobbled together a government, but even I see rumors still that it's still shaky, kind of like the Israeli government.
We had some major protests over domestic abuse, which turned political. I guess how solidly Borisov holds things from the back, or if the foreign minister, who is from his party but is a European creature of the EU, not of domestic politics, if she will try to shive him, and then they might become unstable. The urban elitist party that was recently formed, and which is the other coalition partner, they are uneasy of being allied with. But it's okay. I think there's no much. I don't see much. There are some murders of mafia people, attempted murder of the head of the prosecution, who is apparently turning against Borisov to save his skin. So a lot of ugly developments.
I did notice that. Bulgaria seems to be going back to the bad old days of the 90s when they would, in the aughts, when they would just outright kill people. Of course, if you look at it's interesting to see Balkan Insight, who some of our favorite lefties are over there. They actually did a good reportage piece on the brazen crime in Macedonia, focusing, frankly, because that's probably where most of it is, on the ethnic Albanians literally killing each other. mostly over the drug trade.
Yeah. There was a shooting in Eastgate Mall, the biggest mall.
Really?
Yeah, an Albanian gang tried to whack a Macedonian guy.
When was this?
3 weeks ago.
I must have missed
Like
it.
in the
Oh,
basement, like when
yeah.
it's crowded, you know, kids go there, like
Yeah.
I go there, people like proper shootout, and then
Wow.
they fled to Grčac, which is one of the lawless regions around Skopje,
Wow.
the drug center.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's. I mean, you know, crime. I know we've talked about this before, and I've mentioned it in my columns before over the past 5-6 years. Crime in general, but now these brazen mafia-style shootouts are just seem to be increasing.
Albanian mafia controls the drugs, and now they control way more than their fair share of government. Like 50%
Right.
on paper, even more considering the importance of departments they're getting. Like they never held finance ministry. They would never be put in charge of this highway contract under Gruevski, like giving the Albanian mafia the right to 2 billion euros or dollars, whatever, in construction, in infrastructure deals like that.
Right.
It's huge.
Right. Well, again, something to be aware of and monitor.
Yeah.
Well,
Also to be aware of, do we dare leave the apartment yet? Let's check Ginter's Twitter account, which part of city he is in, and
our favorite gadfly, yes, Gunther. What's his last name?
Ferlinger?
Yes. Let's see. Here we go.
He's in Skopje, and I'm either going straight to my car and driving to a certain destination, or double checking where he is.
How do you spell his name?
Gunther, I guess.
Okay.
He started following me, by the way.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, there he is. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, it's our favorite gadfly. Gunther Fellinger.
Ferlinger.
Austrian, yeah? So,
Just scroll. Let's see what part of the city is taking selfies in right now.
oh dear, he's posting Fast and Furious this morning, so, my goodness. He's on an India kick right now, so,
He wants it partitioned with Pakistan.
oh, there's something.
Oh, he's at the airport? No.
No. That's Air Force One. There,
Yeah.
He's a picture of some India kick. This is strange.
Well, they're part of the BRICS.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Wait, when it comes to demolishing South Africa, you think he's gonna go the Boer angle? He's gonna go bring back apartheid angle, or?
I don't know. Oh well, actually, 15 hours ago, I love Vienna. So many good events to promote NATO here in the hub of neutral Austria. I am a dagger in the heart of neutral Vienna. What a strange man.
It could be a ruse, but let's assume that he's out of Skopje by now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never know. So
Should be safe to go out.
yeah. Oh, there he is. Oh no, he did use the N word in this tweet. So
Oh, did he?
yeah, celebrating
NATO?
independence of European NATO ally. You know.
Both N-words.
Exactly. So.
It's very interesting, you know, when he will call for the partition of South Africa, an Austrian doing this. It could go south really badly, real quick.
It's just really a character. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think it's safe to leave the apartment.
Okay. Good.
Anyway.
Good to know. I have errands to run.
Yes. So yeah, I got people to see and all kinds of stuff to do. So anyway. Well, it's good to catch up with you in person.
Yes,
so,
yes.
It's always fun. I don't know if we can get another one of these in before I leave, but now that everybody knows I'm here.
Ginter included.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. There we go. All right. I think that's a signal.
I'm
so.
sure it was called for.
Time's up. So.
Yeah. Okay, well,
All right.
it was actually pretty chirpy.
It was.
We
yeah.
have
This is good.
Gruevski's return to look forward to.
Exactly.
Possibly. So
Possible return. Possible triumphant return. So.
you may have to extend your stay in that case.
I'm always looking to figure out how to come back more often and stay for longer because I need to. So.
We may have to. We may need you for the coming. What we're gonna call it? What kind of rule will triumvirate or directorate?
Exactly.
What historic term do we go with?
Yeah, we got some time to figure it out. So, all right, good catching up with you.
Yeah.
Cvetin.
Till then.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.